What's going on, powerhouses? Hope everyone is doing amazingly well today. Here we are in the beautiful Tampa nature, getting eaten alive by bugs for you here today. So if we're slapping ourselves a couple times, don't worry, we're okay. I'm here with Bryan Rambow, POD Hall of Famer, elite member, 7-figure penis pump owner. What? What's going on here? We're gonna break it down all today. We've got some great stuff for you. Basically, Bryan and I are just gonna have a conversation for this podcast. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below. We'll be answering questions later on. Overall, we're just gonna have a really great conversation, insightful, mostly related to how to basically get out of shiny object syndrome, doing a whole bunch of stuff randomly, and start getting on a path to the success that you want, creating basically that yellow brick road to achieve that Oz, right? Success, whatever you define success as being. That's really what we're going to be talking about today. If you're watching with us live, throw a W in the comments below. If you're watching on replay, throw an R in the comments below. At always, anytime, feel free to share this, like this, love this, comment. Any point that you are engaging with us, throw a 7 in the comments below as well. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks
Awesome.
for having me, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Appreciate it. Bryan came down from Cincinnati to do this live, only to do this live. No other reason at all. Don't tell them anything else. So, guys, you really have to appreciate that. So what I want to do here first on the front end of this conversation is just kind of give everyone a little bit of an understanding of who you are, kind of your background, even before POD, how Pattern SEO kind of got started. Give us that breakdown.
So it was just me and one of my best friends from college. We just decided to kind of start an agency. We didn't really know what we were doing in the beginning. In fact, we're probably a lot like most, had no idea, but we knew what we had a general idea. Then we ended up landing some clients that got us into the penis pump industry and this sex industry that ended up turning out to be pretty successful for us. And one thing kind of led to the other. Is really just, I came into finding you. You kind of helped us with really perfecting our offer, crafting our offer, and figuring that out, which I think is big. But kind of been doing it now for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and I don't see any time soon slowing down at least.
I love it, man. I love it. So the big thing here that we want to talk about, and one of the biggest problems that I hear about, the pain point that I keep hearing, is clarity, right? A lot of people in this business model, when they want to become an entrepreneur, they have these large aspirations, time and financial freedom. They want to take trips to Tampa, Florida, or the beaches, right, and take a week off. Bryan's been off work for this entire week for July 4th. Admitted that he did a little bit of work today, unwillingly, but did it anyways. The idea behind it is, I think most people, they know what they want, but then when they come to it in terms of what they're trying to achieve, they have no idea how to create that roadmap. I use this metaphor here, and I think it really makes a lot of sense, about having maybe like an 1,000-piece puzzle, because that's what a kind of a business is, right? But when you have a puzzle, you have the roadmap, the blueprint, exactly how you lay it out, exactly how you're supposed to accomplish it. And even if you don't have the map, at least at the very least you know how to get started, right? You build out the outside, the edges first, right? And I think most people either can figure out some edges, but they can't figure out how to put all the pieces together. Was clarity an issue for you early on?
Absolutely. And not only that, but my attention span is like the wind changing directions. It's a serious problem that I have, but it's one of those things where in the beginning you know what you want to do, but you don't know how to get there, and that's where you get confused, I think, and that's where that lack of clarity comes in. And I know that because for the first 5 or 6 months, honestly, even when we were landing clients, I still didn't fully know what I was offering, to be quite honest. I was just kind of selling, and that's what I enjoyed. But once you I think it really comes down to a lack of clarity, is a lack of being fully in 100% belief of your actual offer.
100% agree.
And if you have an offer and you can lay it down here, I've got this package, whatever it is, however your modeling might be different. I know mine is nothing like yours, and I know it'll probably be different from other people in this group. But having that offer, and this is what you do, this is how you do it, and not only that, but it's a roadmap for you, but it's also a way for you to give a roadmap to your clients and say, okay, look, so if you want to spend X amount of dollars, this is what I'm going to be able to do for you. Because most people, with the internet, it's so intangible at times that people don't really know what they're getting when and you can talk about driving leads and all this stuff, and yes, that's great, but they really don't, they just want to know what you're doing. And they want to know that they're in good hands. Exactly. That's what I've noticed with all my businesses. They don't really, I say, hey, this is what I do, this is where it is. and this is how I'm going to get you there. And they're like, okay, Bryan, take care of it.
Exactly.
They don't ask questions, and I'm not sitting there stumbling over myself trying to show them what I can do. It's like, here's what I've got. If you don't want it, then you don't fit this.
Move on.
We're
Exactly.
on to the next one.
That's a big thing, Bryan, and I think overall that was one of the things that allowed me to work with you early on, was the idea that you're okay to say no to someone,
right.
Not just them saying no to you. Bryan was expressing the idea of having clarity on the offers, and I've heard so many entrepreneurs, and I'm sure many of you here today are in this route, where, hey, look, Alex, I have 3 clients, or I have 8 clients, or I have 12 clients, and they're all in different niches, and I've offered them all different things, and this one does web hosting, and this one does SEO, and this one PPC, and this one X, Y, and Z, and it's like, holy crap, how could you possibly replicate it? The idea behind it, and I did in my the 5 things I learned, I don't know if I posted it on my personal page yet, but you'll see it here in just a bit, but one of the things I wrote this week was the idea of having to know your offer specifically, because if you are all over the place, you can't replicate that offer. If you are the business, there is no business, right?
Correct.
That's how Bryan is capable of sitting here right now. That's how I'm capable of sitting here right now, because we have other people on our teams doing the things necessary. The only reason they could do that is because they can replicate the processes that we had created, rather than, oh no, just make the offer on the fly.
Right.
Oh, don't worry about it, just you'll do it on the fly. And I've heard so many sales audits where people go into this process and they're like, oh, well, here's how we'll create this beautiful curated solution for you at this random price, and then I'll discount myself half off. And it's like, what are you doing?
What was the point in having that price anyway?
What was the point of it?
You're devaluing yourself in the beginning. And I did that a lot. I charged clients $500, $750 a month, not knowing what I was doing. And I had clients for hosting, SEO, PPC,
Exactly.
You nailed it. Like, I was like, oh, that was me. And that is, and right, the most challenging part was accepting that, okay, there's a better way to do this and integrate it. And all it is about, just like with what I've realized with the packaging that I have now, it's all about incremental steps. So you have my starter package, we're going to get you started out, and I'm going back to the roots with like basic social media ads and everything. They don't have that. I don't care. That's what I'll give them. This is what you get. And then what I'm going to do is, I know I've got a method that I can generate a boatload of leads, and emails at least, to show them that it works. And it's like, oh, but now I want to do X, Y, Z. Well, that's in my next package. And it makes it so much easier for me to scale. And scale one client in terms of across my value ladder.
Exactly.
So I've got, and that's the beauty of it is once you have that system in place, no matter if they're on the $1,250 a month plan or the $10,000 a month plan, it's still automated. I still have somebody taking care of it for me. I'm not doing it, which is beautiful, and it's a hell of a lot easier to run this kind of business.
And that's how
when
you become a
actually have
CEO.
that.
That's how you become a CEO. So let's take a step back here, because I think this is really exciting. We started working together about 9 months ago. And what happened was Bryan saw an ad on Facebook, just as many of I'm sure you have seen, and he watched my webinar, and we sparked up a conversation, and we got on a call, and we immediately built a rapport. Bryan and I have a relationship that's outside of business also. We can just go to a bar, have a drink,
Right.
not talk about business for 3 hours. We can also sit down and have a very intellectual business conversation that can scale both of our businesses and hopefully help your business as well. That's why we're here today. And guess what we're doing right after? Immediately after this, we're going to go to lunch and probably not talk about business,
Exactly.
because that's what we can do. That's the opportunity we had, and we had that rapport really quite honestly, I would say immediately.
I would agree with that.
So
Absolutely.
we had this conversation, and Bryan just went with this transparency model, which is my model. He's like, look, Alex, I know how to sell. I'm good at selling. I can make money, but the reality is I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm kind of doing this, and I'm kind of doing that, and I'm kind of doing this and that, and I need it to be more defined. So when Bryan started, he had 2 specific goals. Bryan, why don't you tell them the 2 specific goals?
I wanted to get my own office. I wanted to get a Harley.
Beautiful.
And I did both within almost 3, not less than 3. I got the Harley a little later, but I got everything done within 45 days is what it was.
Basically, the idea is, could you imagine in less than a quarter changing your entire business model and life so that you become the CEO of your business, you have an actual path to achieve, and you actually utilize whatever your strengths are? Bryan nor myself are sitting here telling you that you have to be the best salesperson ever. If you know that your weakness is sales, just delegate it out. Give them a commission, let yourself handle it out. How do you actually do that? Creating the processes for it, right? If you are a good salesperson, I will admit, and I think you will as well, you have a decided advantage, obviously. But there's also a big disadvantage with sales, and that's how people create these businesses of, I have 20 different clients with 20 different offers because I just sold them whatever it is.
Exactly.
I'm selling all over the place. Don't do that. Don't do that. Create a structure, create a process. It will even make your sales better because it's the same sales call over and over.
We just hired a sales guy.
Exactly.
And he's got these 4 packages, and then before I even did it, before I gave him these packages, I was like, go out and try and sell it. I wanted to see how he couldn't do anything. He was just going out trying to sell ad management, $1,500 retainer, and then ad spend, and he couldn't do it, and he didn't know what he was doing. And I was like, all right, well, come in. This is how I want to do it. Booked 3 appointments in that week, closed 2 of them. One
Amazing.
of them for a $5,000 a month contract.
I love
and
it.
it's like, just because you have the system, because then they look at this and like, oh, that's what I'm getting. Oh, this is what I'm getting, and this is why I need it. What is it? Why do I need it? How's it going to help me? If you can translate that to any business owner, they're going to take. And there's so much opportunity around here. And that's the thing, like even just driving around here, I'm seeing all these places. There's massage parlors everywhere. And it just says massage in it. You know, I'm just like, okay, there's some stuff we can do there. And we've taken our stuff outside of just digital marketing. We've got 3 billboards that we've designed in Cincinnati now. We're trying to get into I want to kind of get into everything because I love it. I want to hire a team. I sit on like the OU Marketing Advisory Board because I want to be able to hire OU interns to come on. I got 2 interns starting on Monday. So it's one of those things where I want to build that. And this is where a lot of people are outsourced. I want to bring it in because I want to be that Cincy base. This is where it is.
Hell yes.
And that's kind of, that's been my goal from the beginning is I knew I was going to have to outsource, but I didn't want to outsource it all to the point to where I couldn't hire on employees because I wanted to have a business.
Exactly.
I want to be able to contribute, and that's my personal goal. That's not like how other people are. And you can still live the whole, I can take a week off and not do anything, but still hold down a business.
100%. That's the goal, right? If you are the business, then there is no business.
Correct.
If you are the business, then it's just a side hustle. Because if you, God forbid, something happens to you, or even in the good side, you just want to take a week off, you can't. It's literally you can't. The biggest thing I think that Bryan and I did together in the first 30 to 45 days of PODUE was focusing on constructing his offers, the offer sheets. We didn't even focus on the niche at all. We didn't even dive into specifics because Bryan and I have a slightly different disposition about niches and specializing. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's you have to know yourself. And Bryan and I would always work together in understanding, hey, I know myself. I know what I need from you. That's clarity, right? Bryan had clarity on the problem, didn't have clarity on the solution. I provided the solution.
Right.
You have to know where you're at. Do you have clarity on the problem? Do you have clarity on the solution? Or are you just missing it out always? Do you not have any clarity at all? That's the key. You have to know what clarity you're missing out on. So one thing I want to bring up here is based on Bryan's original goals. So we said he had 2 goals, the Harley Davidson and buying the office. He also had another goal when he joined PODUE. He was averaging at that point, I think, 1,150 recurring, right? When you started?
Yeah, when I started POD.
1,150 when he started POD. Right after that, when we had our first call, he mentioned to me that he was trying to generate $15,000 in, I think his goal was 30 days. And I was like, Bryan, that is quite a large goal, steep. But hey, look, if we have a process and we can implement it, we can make it happen. In 40 days, Bryan was able to generate over $10,000 in recurring processes. Now look, we didn't hit the $15,000 mark in 15 days, but I don't think Bryan's sitting here being upset over that process. The reality is, could your life change if you're able to generate over $10,000 in the next 40 days? The reality is it's feasible. Bryan has created a 7-figure agency in under a year utilizing these methodologies. It's not just on the backbone of me. I don't sit here saying, I did this for Bryan. Bryan praised me. That's not what we're here to do. The reality is Bryan knew his problem. He seeked out the solution. I provided the solution, and together we were able to scale something. His team was able to utilize Bryan's skills to grow the company. Now, one thing I mentioned just prior was that Bryan and I have a slightly different disposition on kind of multitasking. Some people would call it putting your eggs in different baskets versus specializing. So what I'm going to do first is share with you why I am in the process of specializing in focus. I think the reality comes down to knowing yourself. That's the first thing. You have to know yourself, and having clarity on yourself and having self-awareness, knowing your problems and the issues, and not even if you don't know the solution, at the very least you can fix it because you know the problem, right? If you're ignorant to your problems, it's really hard to fix because you don't know it's an issue, right? So I think one of the big things was I knew for a long time myself, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs resonate with this, is I'm really, really bad at multitasking. Like, bad. I am procrastinating, I have ADD, I'm jumping from thing to thing, I'm giving half-assed effort. And then I watched a Parks and Recreation episode where Ron Swanson said to Leslie Knope, while she was trying to run for office and still be Parks and Rec, he said, look, you can't half-ass anything, you have to full-ass everything. And it's a joke, and it's a comedic show, but I really resonate with that because it's true. I need to full-ass everything. That's what I needed. So everything that I coach is mostly on the facet of, hey, this is your line, this is what you need to go for. Then when I told that to Bryan, he was like, look, Alex, I like to have my hands in different things, but I can manage it. I know myself. I'm capable of doing it. If I create one process, I can replicate that process over and over. How do you manage yourself when you have multiple different things? Because I think a lot of people want that ability, Bryan, but I think they have to recognize, are they really capable of it, or are they telling themselves they're capable of it? What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it if you're starting out. That'd be my best thing. In the beginning, if you're just trying to start out and get into this, I would say find whatever it is that you're going to sell and get your offer crafted and go out and sell it. And then as you start to get the income to where you can start doing other things and you're not just either constantly trying to do sales calls, then I would say it's easier. But if you're trying to pay bills or put food on the table, I would not recommend being as... I've never been in a situation. I've always been able to kind of just make things work for me, and I'm a little different that way. But for me, I am so ADD that the only way I feel comfortable is when I'm doing a lot of different things. How I do that, though, is I break it up into time. So I wake up every morning at 4:30. I get about an hour of me time in, and then I go to work out. I'm in the office by 7:30. And from 7:30 to 10 is basically pattern and Bryan time, and then from 10 to 2 is working with clients, networking, doing whatever that is. I never eat lunch alone. I'm a big fan of that. I'm always out networking. I'm constantly trying to drum up new business. And I don't have to. It just comes kind of naturally after a while. And then in the evenings, I'm working on my extracurricular stuff. Like right now, I'm in the CBD space. I'm creating my own brand and manufacturer, partnering with a grow-op and building that out. So that's got about 70% of my time right now. But because I've automated everything with pattern, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to be able to do everything else. And now I'm figuring out, so how do I automate all the stuff with this as we start to roll out, building on our affiliate program, building all that stuff. There's so many aspects that I've got to do.
So many aspects.
But it just, you take it one step at a time. You got to break it down. You got to have those smaller goals. So yeah, I've always had this, I want to have a 7-figure agency. That's everyone's goal, I think. But a lot of people don't even know how much a month you have to make to get a 7-figure income. You don't even take the time to pull out a calculator to break it out, yet this is what you want. See, that's a big, no. And then the same thing, you break it down on, how much am I working? That's one of the things. I got a buddy who works at PwC. And he works 80, 90 hours a week, and he gets paid salary, and he loves it. But then you break that down, he's making minimum wage. And it's like, okay. And that's what I did with one of my clients. When I realized I was charging him $750 a month. It was one of my first clients.
You're like, wow, I am charging way too little.
And
too many people. You charge too little.
The problem is most people don't realize their worth until they're trapped with
It's just a market in general. This market,
it's a race to the
push
bottom.
it down. They're like, hey, you got a $600 offer, let me make it for $500. Oh, you got a $500, let me do it $250. Oh, let me do it for free for 3 weeks, and then I'll get paid. It's like,
and
what
people
are you doing?
say that. I've got, I'm in a B&I group, and I talked about that a lot before. I think everyone should get in a B&I group. It's been one of the greatest things. All of the opportunities I'm in right now are because of this group.
100%. B&I is great.
You've got to get that right group. That's kind of the group that I'm in. A lot of them people go to, they're all just old men kind of thing. And that's what I heard. The one that I'm in is they're in their 30s. They're all young. They're thirsty. They want to be successful just like me. And when I was coming to them originally, and I was kind of talking, they're like, I can hire Webfeet to do this for $600. I was like, or you could go to Pfeiffer and get it for 40. I was like, but the only difference is I know what I'm doing here.
Exactly.
And it was a confidence thing. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that if that's not your sales tactic, but I knew these people. I knew the situation I was in, and I straight told them, like, here, you want to outsource it like that, go ahead.
Go cheaper, yeah.
You're going to get just as, all the people that are there. You pay for
what you get.
Exactly.
You pay for what you get.
And when you understand your value, you can differentiate it that way. And then, like I said, you got to have a system where you can show an ROI within the first week or two, because then you're going to go back to that group and they're going to give you a testimonial. And that's every week I come back and people are like, Bryan's running this campaign.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is. And that's why I'm hiring these people, because I'm like, well, I don't want to deal with it. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. I love this industry. I myself am Google and Facebook partnered. I've run the campaigns myself. I've done it all. I know how to do it. But then it's like, okay, I'm the guy that likes to know how to do everything, so then I can create a system.
Absolutely agree.
And
so I want to talk about something related to that, and we're going to let this plane move over us. But the point here that I'm trying to explain is everything we're talking about, I know what these marketers and entrepreneurs are thinking on this group. But how do I do that? Like, I don't think I'm good enough, or I'm scared, or I'm nervous, right? It comes back to what we call the mindset, right? The ability and confidence that you can accomplish what you set your mind to. And when Bryan and I had our first conversation, I actually remember our sales conversation. I do a lot of transparent selling because the reality is when someone gets on a call with me, they know I'm trying to sell them something, but I'm not trying to sell them something so I'm making just the money. I'm trying to provide them the value, the support necessary to achieve the goal they had. And Bryan understood that right away because he's doing the same thing and he's a salesperson. So we get on the call, he's like, this is what I want, this is my problems, can you solve it, yes or no, or do I move on? I'm like, Bryan, pretty simple, right? I'm like, Bryan, here's the reality. We can go for 45 minutes and do a bunch of qualifying, or we can invest right now, get started, and just spend the rest of this call to talk about kind of growth. He's like, okay, let's do it. And we invested it and we started together. The reality was I could sense Bryan already had the mindset that no matter who he was going to deal with, no matter how many problems he faced, no matter how many no's you received, no matter how many obstacles you had to overcome, he was going to succeed no matter what. You were going to succeed no matter what. You always had that mindset just as much as I did. Doesn't mean Bryan's never had a bad day. Doesn't mean I've never had a bad day. Doesn't mean I've never felt like I couldn't do it. Doesn't mean that Bryan's never felt that way. But mindset matters. Mindset absolutely matters, and it's something that will put you into the next level. Positive psychology matters. Can you speak to your mindset, into how you're so confident in yourself even before the results happen? Because obviously when results come, confidence builds. But before that, how does it happen?
You fake it till you make it. That's really what it is. It's planes coming over and hold on. But with that, I think it's more in terms of positive mindset. In order for somebody to have a positive mindset, they have to have a positive self-image. So it really goes beyond just saying, I am so happy and grateful now that my agency is making $25,000 a month recurring. Right. Which is what I said for about 6 months straight, until it actually was only 3 months, and then it came true, and then it's like, oh wow, you raised that. Now, I'm saying 50,000. Now I'm saying 75,000. But you start small. If you're only at 5,000, that should be, and that's what you're trying to get to. But don't put yourself in the box on that. And affirmations alone are not going to do it. What you need to do is you need to actually take action, and you have to have that positive self-image first. You have to, if you're afraid and if you're saying, I don't know where to start, be okay with the fact that you presently struggle with where it is, but you just be open to the fact that the solution is going to come to you. The packaging plan that I kind of talked about, that stuff didn't just pop into my head overnight.
It's through process.
It's through process and doing and experiencing. And just being okay with the unknown is, quite frankly, the hardest part. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, you're signing up for this.
Exactly, right? Because if you're in a corporate job, they'll tell you what to do.
They give you
an
all
entrepreneur
that.
is
They
a
give you
blinded
those
path.
procedures. Yes.
Exactly.
So this is, if you've got to call, if you got to make 10 cold calls a day or send 100 emails, whatever it is, just do it. And eventually, you're going to have that aha moment. You're going to be taking a shower. You're going to be walking the dog. Something's going to happen. You're going to be doing dishes. And it's just going to, that's what it is. You're going to want to write it down right then and there. And then you're going to, and that's literally how it happened for like us. And I say that because Nick's not here. He's holding down
very
the fort.
Critical portion of this business.
It is.
Nick
It is.
We love you, Nick, brother.
Yeah, he does. I do.
So I do too.
He's my boy.
But there's one note also there that I think Bryan and I will both agree with, and both of us have invested in ourselves and in our knowledge. The reality is in that positive self-image is also understanding that there's help. Like a lot of people, I think, Bryan, especially entrepreneurs, we have a very inflated self-ego, which is okay. It's good, but there's a very fine line between confidence and arrogance, and sometimes we pass it, we go back and forth, but we're always going with integrity. I know Bryan and I are always going with integrity, even if sometimes we might fall into the arrogance sideline. And even if you fall into the arrogance sideline, sometimes I'm sure you're going with integrity. But the one thing you have to do is never be ignorant to the fact that you can be helped. You can always be helped. That's why Bryan came to me in the first place. And I went to other people to get coached from as well, because I needed help to help people like Bryan, to help people like yourself, because I understand what the problems are. That's why Bryan and I sit here today and we're like, hey, what we're saying is probably resonating with you. And if it is, throw a 7 in the comments below. Let us know you're enjoying this. We appreciate it and appreciate you being here with us. But again, I think the biggest thing is you don't have to be concerned about not knowing, because someone else has done it before. Someone else knows. Seek that person out and cut that learning curve. That's why you work with me, Bryan.
That's
correct?
all it is you cut your learning curve. Emulate what works. And everyone says that. And I'm not saying copy for verbatim, but I definitely have taken maybe a lot of stuff from you, other things that I've just read, studied, learned, and even some of my own stuff that I've just kind of crafted over the year, and I've kind of built my own program, so to speak. It's not a program because I do B2B,
yep.
But you understand what I'm saying with that. And if I didn't seek help, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I'm also somebody who I try to I mean, I'm not very active on social media. I'm not a very anything.
Right now, brother.
Right, I know this is the most action my Facebook ever gets. And I'm not the guru guy. I'm very behind the scenes, but it's because I like to do so many different things. I'm also in real estate, and we could have a whole nother talk on that. But what my biggest problem, I think, with where people are is if you can't take the time to just sit down and say, okay, this is where I'm at with my business, I'm okay with that, and this is where I want to get, and simply just detail it out on a week-to-week basis. And that is honestly, it's taking action. I sound like a broken record, and I always will, because it's taking. The only thing that's different from me and my buddies right now is when they all came home from work, me and Nick came home from work, we went in the basement, we grinded,
absolutely,
and that's all it is.
And now you're reaping the rewards.
And not only that, but it accelerates, because then you start to see that
momentum.
It compounds so quickly,
so fast. It's
and
incredible.
You gotta love going to the Christmas parties and your parents' families asking you, "Oh, what are you doing?"
I'm
these
kicking
days?
ass. I'm taking names. That's what I'm doing.
Selling penis bumps. How are you doing with you? No, but it's a great. I love it, and everything about this. I love this lifestyle. I love what I can do, and honestly, it gets way more fun when you start providing value.
100%.
And in the beginning, I didn't really fully see what I was doing for others, but now when you can see it, you can actualize it, and I know how I'm benchmarking everything, and I've got everything. I didn't know what I was doing fully in the beginning, but I've made it my full job to learn every aspect of this, and it pays off by doing that.
Bryan is dropping some major nuggets here, and the biggest one by far is, without question, the reality of stop going by the seat of your pants. Stop just doing day-by-day shit. Waking up at 9 a.m. and be like, what do I do today? Oh, it's 5 p.m. What did I do today? Oh, it's 8 p.m. I'm still working, and I don't think I've accomplished anything. I've just done a whole bunch of shit. Don't do that. Have a process. Create the process. If you don't know it yet, speak to me. Speak to Bryan. Speak to someone that can help you. Cut that learning curve. I use this all the time, and I think you use this in your sales too. It works a little better in my space because I'm coaching entrepreneurs like yourself, but it works very well as well with any B2B company. What you're asking someone to do is invest in their business. You're saying, hey, I'm a marketer. I want you to invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in your business every month to overall achieve more revenue. Except, what are you investing in yourself? Are you investing in mentorship? Are you investing in guidance? Are you investing in systems and process? Are you investing in a life coach? Anything of that nature. Have you invested in your own advertising? Are you an imposter? I mean, are you an imposter? Do you have imposter syndrome? That's the reality. That's what Bryan was honest with me in the beginning. He's like, look, I don't want to be an imposter. I want to invest in myself. I want to get to the next level because I know what I can accomplish. Yes, there is an investment here, financial and time. And the time, I know Bryan and I will both agree, is way more important than the finances. The finances will come and go, but the time is much more important. I'm going to ask you to give me your time. I'm going to ask you to give me your time, and I'm going to give you my time, because I know what we can do together, because I know what we've done with Bryan and many other people just like him. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Bryan, can you talk about a little bit what it's been when you have that guidance, that mentorship, that process, when you invested in yourself, no longer felt like the imposter, but was able to position yourself as, look, I'm investing in myself. You need to invest in yourself. That's what makes sales easier.
Confidence goes up. You wake up, you know what you're actually, I mean, once you have that, and your confidence is there, you wake up every day and you know what you need to do. You know what needs to get done, you know where you're going, you know what, you don't have a question. And that's the beauty of where I'm at right now, is I wake up every morning. A lot of my friends, they've got the Sunday scaries or whatever. It's like, I don't see that, because this is something that I know where I'm at right now. I know where I'm going. I know how to get there. I know the path that I'm building. And not only that, but there are so many other opportunities that are coming to me all the time. And that's another thing, is like, who was it, Thomas Edison? I think he says thoughts are like, everybody can hear a thought. I just act something. That's how it is with opportunity. Everyone's like, well, I don't know, or I got rejected from this person, and it's over, right? It's over. No, I've actually had I've had a client. They're a $140 million consulting firm, actually, and we landed them after 7 months of follow-up.
That's the way. Money's in the follow-up.
7 months of follow-up.
People get so concerned about no's, or people saying no to you, and you get down on yourself and you quit, and you're ready to quit, but it's insane. There's always going to be processes and ups and downs. There's two words that define successful entrepreneurs. I know you'll resonate with this, Bryan, and will agree with me. Productivity and perseverance. Productivity. What has Bryan been saying this whole time? Taking action, consistently taking action, even when it's hard, even when it's difficult, even if you really don't know what the fuck you're doing, for lack of a better term, just do it anyways. Just take the action. It's better than no action. That's the truth. And then perseverance. Always ensure that you are able to get up even when it's hard. Dwayne Wade, one of my favorite athletes of all time, he has a commercial from like 2005, 2 years into the NBA, where he keeps falling down on this layup and dunk he's trying to do. And then the quote is, fall down 8 times, get up 9. The idea is you can persevere more than the next guy, you're going to be successful. Don't have the scarcity mindset. Oh, this is the one-time opportunity. They said no once and it's over. No, follow up in 30 days. Where are you at now? Same spot, let's work together. 60 days, same spot, let's work together. 90 days, don't give up. Keep on pushing, persevere. What have you done in perseverance to kind of overcome that mindset of, this is it, I can't do it anymore? Or was it a natural thing for you?
It was more of a natural thing.
More of a natural thing.
I just kind of, my whole thing was just proving everyone wrong. Like I wanted
I love
to be,
that.
You know,
that chip on your shoulder.
It was in the beginning, but now it's like, okay, now I'm trying, and now I realize all the tax benefits you get as an entrepreneur, and all the other stuff that comes with it. And people don't realize, like, oh yeah, it seems so risky, but at the end of the day, a job's just as risky. So my perseverance was, well, it's either I do this or I go back and work in a cubicle. And quite frankly, I'm good on that.
I'm not doing cubicle work.
Yeah, it was not my style. So that's kind of what, and like I said, I've always had, when it's something that I enjoy and love, I nerd out on it hard.
100%.
And most people do, obviously, but I've always been fascinated with computers. I went to school for IT, so, that has nothing to do with marketing, to be honest. But that shows you, exactly. Well, that's actually, I would have liked that a little
Sales,
bit more,
but
right?
not marketing.
Yeah. And so, I got all this IT background, no marketing. So it's like, what did I do? I spent a year learning it, and that's what I was. When I didn't know what to do, I was, okay, well, you might need to set up your freaking email. You don't have a landing page. It's like those people out there that are sitting there, I don't know what to do. Yeah, do you have a list of people that you can reach out to? Do you have a script that you could create for them? Do you have any type of, make up a case study, make up an email sequence,
do
anything.
Something.
Don't just sit there and complain, because those are the people that don't get anywhere.
These are the people that don't get anywhere. They're twiddling their thumbs all day, trying to go on 25 different Facebook groups, trying to figure out what the next thing to do is. What's the shiny objects? Yeah, all the free bait. Just take action. Get a mentor, get guidance, go through a process, implement and succeed. Before we continue, is there any questions, Shira, that we should be answering here? Guys, if you have any questions at all, feel free to throw them in the comments below. We'll either answer them on the live, or we'll be happy to get back to you afterwards. And overall, here, just giving the phone to make sure I can see anything. Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. Overall, this has been a really great live. What I want to do to close out the live here is as follows. Bryan, you were able to work with me in POD Elite. Would love to have you share kind of your thoughts on POD Elite, and what would you recommend to someone considering it?
I would definitely highly recommend it, honestly. Definitely, you kind of came in, and working with you in POD, we had gotten a lot of the foundation, built out. I understood what I was doing a little bit more. I had a little bit more of a sense of clarity. When we did the Elite, I'm sorry, when I joined POD. When I did the Elite, though, that's when we really honed into Bryan's business and how to make it not me as the business, but to automate everything, to be okay with outsourcing, because that's one thing. I am a control freak. I always will be. You got to report to me kind of thing. And being able to let go of that, and I still have trouble doing it, just by the way I am right now, is it's something that you have to do, and Alex definitely made me realize it's a lot faster than I would have, because being able to build out those systems early on has made it so much easier and a hell of a lot more fun. I'm not nearly as cranky. It definitely helps with knowing where you're going, knowing what I'm doing, and how, I know that if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, the business is still going to work.
And hopefully that won't happen.
Right.
Bryan, I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Time.
Everyone, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, throw a 7 in the comments below. Doors for POD Elite are officially open. You can apply right now at prospectingondemand.com/elite-apply. We'll see you all very soon. Have a great, wonderful weekend.